Out of all the provinces of China, I'm guessing Hubei is not one you ever heard of or know anything about. However, I'm here to tell you that you did hear about it in the news even if you didn't realize it. For one, Hubei is the site of the world's largest power station. And on the other hand, I'm sure you remember that the city of Wuhan became quite famous in 2020 for all the wrong reasons. See, you do know some things. Now how about we learn a bit more? Hi, welcome to 7 Facts. First, let's get the introductions out of the way. Hubei is a landlocked province crisscrossed by the mighty Yangtze River, thousands of lakes and mountains over 3,000 meters tall that seem to reach the heavens. 58 million people live here, as many as in Italy, but in almost half the area. Most people identify as Han Chinese, and the capital city, Wuhan, is one of China's main cultural centers. Wuhan is also a city of education. It has the largest college student population in the world, 1.3 million, split between 89 universities. The economy isn't too bad either. Hubei is the richest landlocked province of China. Good. Now that we're acquainted, we can dive deeper and explore the history of this place. Hubei's first main chapter of history began with an ancient state, Chu. This ancient state, at least according to traditional texts, was founded in 1030 BC as one of the most powerful Chinese states. While initially a vassal of the Zhou dynasty, the state of Chu became very influential and controlled much of the Yangtze River and parts of the North China Plain. And when the Qin began to assert itself by outward expansionism, Chu became their main adversary. However, as the wars between Qin and Chu ensued, the latter lost more and more until in 278 BC the territory of modern-day Hubei was conquered. By 221, the Qin managed to conquer all of its surrounding states and created the first unified China in history. Their dynasty didn't last very long though, and modern Hubei switched masters frequently. Dynasties came and went, barbaric tribes took over and were defeated, and those long-gone centuries were anything but stable. At one point, while under Mongol rule, Hubei was devastated by an epidemic, and some scholars believe that it was a case of the plague. Nothing is certain about that, but this occurred in 1331, so if true, this might have been the prelude for the infamous Black Death that hit Europe 5 years later. After this episode, Hubei's history of switching masters resumed for centuries to come. Long after this, in 1911, Hubei became the scene for something major. That year, an uprising sprung out of Wuhan, known as the Wuchang Uprising. The revolt began because the Qing dynasty decided to nationalize local railway development projects and transfer control to foreign banks. To control the protests, imperial troops were sent out, which triggered a full-blown uprising, which in turn triggered the Xinhai Revolution, the one that successfully overthrew China's last imperial dynasty. And that was a pretty big deal. After this, the rest of the world pretty much forgot about Hubei until December 1st, 2019, that is. On that day, the first case of a new strain of the coronavirus was identified in the city of Wuhan. I guess I don't need to tell you what happened next. That same Wuhan is Hubei's capital and largest city. It's the home of more than 12 million people, which means that you can actually fit quite a few countries inside. Wuhan is a historic city of China. Throughout the ages, it was an important port, it was the scene of uprisings and epidemics, it was briefly the capital of China in 1927 and again in 1937, and was and still is the center of central China. It's also a major manufacturing center, one of the world's most active research centers, and one of the top 100 financial centers on Earth. Obviously, this means that it's packed full of historic landmarks, countless stores, universities, factories, skyscrapers, and a lot of tourists. And it's this city, not Beijing or Shanghai, that attracts the most foreign residents in all of China. Wuhan is without a doubt one of the top destinations of the country, and it's for good reasons. You wanna know what else is in Hubei that might interest you? How about the largest power station on the planet? That's right, the massive Three Gorges Dam is located on the Yangtze River in the province of Hubei. This beast has an installed capacity of 22.5 thousand megawatts and produces on average 95 terawatt-hour of electricity per year. And that puts it on top of any other power station in the world. The idea of a dam on the Yangtze has been floating around since 1919, but it was only in 1992 that the Congress approved its construction. And it was only in 2012 that it was fully operational. While the dam produces an insane amount of energy and in addition protects the people living downstream from catastrophic floodings, its construction is kinda controversial. Landslides have increased, wastewater became an issue, and the 600-kilometer-long reservoir flooded thousands of homes, archaeological sites, villages, towns, you name it. And, believe it or not, our days are longer because of the Three Gorges Dam. The shift of water mass to this singular location makes the Earth slightly more round in the middle and flat on the poles, which increased the total length of a day by 0.06 microseconds. That might not sound much, but the fact that any human construction can affect Earth's rotation is worth mentioning. Good or bad, the Three Gorges Dam exists and it works, so take it as you will. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. Legends and myths abound around these theoretical humanoid creatures, and the United States is not the only home to such creatures. Hubei has its own cryptid. That's what we call mythological animals that some believe exist in the wild. It's called a Yeren, or wild man, and it is said that it lives in the Shenangjia forest. Sightings of hairy men have been mentioned in documents since antiquity, although the modern legend is a much more recent story. The Yeren are said to be strong, savage, and fast-moving. They live in mountain caves and come out only to raid villages, steal wives, or rape. As usual, it was speculated that this creature might be a far-removed human relative that somehow survived millions of years without us noticing it. And as usual, many expeditions have been organized and none have come up with credible or irrefutable evidence. Most likely, people saw black bears, who can sometimes stand on 2 feet, and that is indeed an intimidating sight. Other times it might have been gibbons or monkeys, which in all fairness do have some human-like features. And of course, it's more than possible that the sightings of these hairy men were just plain old fabrications. The Yeren is probably not real, even though it would be cool to discover a new live humanoid. But as the saying goes, anything's possible. The mountains of Hubei don't just hide mythical creatures, they're also a place of refuge and pilgrimage. The Wudang Mountains are spectacularly beautiful on their own, but they're also the home of Taoist temples and monasteries. In Taoism, Wudang is one of the 4 sacred mountains associated with Xuantian Shangdi, the Lord of the North. If the Shaolin Temple in Henan is a focal point of Chan Buddhism, Wudang Mountain is its Taoist counterpart. And just like at the Shaolin Temple, this too is a place where martial arts are practiced. Specifically Tai Chi or shadow boxing, one of the most widespread forms of martial arts in the world. Anyway, religious or not, Wudang Mountain is an incredible historic and spiritual site that simply cannot be missed. Another historic site found in Hubei is the ancient city of Jingzhou. The site of this city has been inhabited for at least 5,000 years, but that of course doesn't mean that the city existed for that many years. Jingzhou is, however, the area where the aforementioned state of Chu was founded. Ying, an ancient city within Jingzhou, was the capital of this state a very long time ago, in 689 BC, and it maintained this status for more than 400 years. In our era, it served as the capital and southern capital of several Chinese dynasties. Numerous ruins have been preserved from the Chu period, including over 800 tombs. Also, as a fun fact, an epic statue of Guan Yu, a deified military general, watches over Jingzhou, and that in itself is already an awesome landmark. That was all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave. Leave your comments downstairs, and if you wish to do so, you can help out this channel through my Patreon page. I do hope to see you next time. Bye.